Well guys, they finally did it. After months of endless speculation, will they or won't they teasing, and wild fantasizing and guessing, Sony finally took the lid off the PlayStation 5 with their big console reveal event on Thursday. And whether you plan on picking up one of the consoles at launch or not, I'm sure that we can all agree that the show was absolutely huge. What we saw was a gaming company that was firing on all cylinders, unrepentant in their approach and ready to show the world that despite rumors to the contrary, Sony knows how to sell a console. Sony kept their promise and gave us the first full looks at next-gen gameplay, and I can't help but be impressed. Whether you game on PlayStation, Xbox, or PC, Thursday night was definitely a good night to be a gamer. The games lineup that Sony showed was a solid mix of not only titles from first-party studios such as Guerrilla and Insomniac, but it also included a lot of interesting new IPs and big games from a third-party arena. Some of my personal highlights include Deathloop, which was probably my favorite game of the entire show. The game looks incredible and unlike pretty much anything we've seen so far. I love how kinetic and action-packed the gameplay looks, and its unique art style is really compelling. And then of course there was Resident Evil Village. I've been a lifelong fan of Resident Evil since I was a little kid, and was definitely excited to see Capcom return with another entry to the series. I really enjoy the recent direction they've taken Resident Evil over the past few entries, and I absolutely loved Resident Evil 7, and I'm definitely looking forward to see the story continue from there. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart was another highlight. This was probably the first time that we really saw something that cannot be done on current gen systems. The way the player character moves through fully loaded and playable universes in an instant really shows the playable benefits that we will get on next gen with the faster SSDs. The game looks great and is definitely something I'm going to be picking up day one. And then finally, there was Spider-Man Miles Morales. I was 100% not expecting to see a new Spider-Man game at the show, let alone one starring Miles Morales as the lead character. Although we didn't get to see a ton from the game, I love the fact that they are taking full advantage of Miles' unique set of abilities, and the new environments from the snowy, wintry Manhattan all look fantastic. Now I don't know about you, but I know that I've spent the last 48 hours poring all over the internet, checking out all the videos I can, reading up on tweets and rewatching trailers, all to soak up all the information and every detail I possibly could on the PS5, the games, and the experience that Sony is trying to sell us. And it was around this point that I kind of realized something. These last few hours following Sony's reveal event has me feeling something I haven't felt about next gen so far. Real, unadulterated excitement. Part of it might be related to some of the important real-world issues going on right now, but I found it really difficult to get pumped about the new consoles. Sure, I knew the next-gen systems would be powerful and that the SSDs would be super fast, but it just doesn't seem that long ago that I bought my most recent current-gen console, the PS4 Pro, and I haven't really felt like today's games are really holding developers back. Games like Star Wars Fallen Order, The Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and Gears 5 all look great on today's machines. And I wasn't really sure that I was ready to shell out a few more $100s on new gaming consoles just yet. As a result, ever since the next-gen conversations were officially kicked off during the Game Awards late last year, I met most announcements with a bit of ambivalence. I, for one, was massively unenthused by the majority of reveals that we have gotten so far. Sony's Mark Cerny presentation was fine, I guess, but most of the stuff he talked about was way too technical for me to understand, and was very difficult for me to visualize. And since then, we haven't heard much of anything from Sony other than a reveal of the controller and the Unreal Engine, which, although interesting, isn't enough to make me take out my wallet and give out my cash. And then there's the Xbox side of things. I think that most of us would agree that their gameplay reveal event from last month left a lot to be desired. The game selection was somewhat lacking, and the small amount of real, live gameplay made it difficult to fully understand what we could expect once we got our hands on those next-gen consoles for ourselves. And even though all of Series X's confirmed features, such as the super consumer-friendly smart delivery and backwards compatibility, are smart moves that I hope every console maker adopts, I never felt like this was enough. We console gamers have been told for months how great things like SSD and ray tracing are going to make our game, but there was never really anything tangible to point to that showed us instead of telling. But I felt that last week's reveal event finally changed that. I now understand what the hype around next gen is all about, and I'm excited that we now have a few titles to point to justify the need for new machines, something that both publishers haven't done a great job of doing so far. Now again, I don't want to sit here and act like the PS5 show was perfect. There were definitely a few titles that most of us could agree were duds, and there's definitely a lot more for us to see from both Xbox and PlayStation. We still don't know what the majority of Microsoft's new first-party devs are working on, and I'm certain that they will deliver during their presentation in July. And we also have no idea how much these consoles will cost, or when we can expect to pick them up in stores. And some of the biggest titles, like Call of Duty and the rumored Batman sequel, have all been missing in action. But all in all, I was definitely satisfied by this week's PlayStation show. For the first time in months, I am really completely excited to find more information about the games and features coming to next-gen systems this fall. I honestly can't wait to find out what's next, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how the rest of this year plays out. So what do you think? Did you enjoy Sony's next-gen showcase? Were there any games at the show that you were interested in buying, or any new titles that grabbed your attention that you didn't expect? Let me know in the comments below. Let's start a real conversation about next-gen and the games that we're hoping for. If this is your first time here, we would appreciate if you consider subscribing. We live stream twice a week and post edited videos like this one regularly. Anyway, this has been No Flex Gaming. My name is KendleFire. NFG out.